Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Bible study. Today I am very excited for two main reasons. One, it's Thursday afternoon and later tonight I'm going to my very first Bikers for Christ meeting and I'm excited about hanging out with fellow Christian bikers tonight. Second is I am very excited about the Bible study this week and actually over the next 5 weeks because we're starting a Bible study series this week on one of the most important scriptures in my life. And I want to share a personal story of why this scripture is so important to me and why we're going to do a series and take 5 weeks on it. It's because today is like an overview, but today's scripture comes from Mark 12:30, where we're told in scripture to love God with all of our heart and all of our soul and all of our mind and all of our strength. And the reason this is so important to me is because a little over a year ago, I got sick. I got very sick. I had pancreatitis and my organs started to shut down. And I spent a whole week in intensive care unit at the hospital. And it was very scary for me and it was very scary for my family. But I felt like in that week there, in the midst of that fear and pain and going through that, I felt like God taught me something important. And I feel like it came from Mark 12:30 and what it means to love God with our heart and soul and mind and strength. So much so that I never wanted to forget what it was that God taught me because I feel like loving God in those 4 ways should help guide us in the decisions that we make in life and where we go. And so I designed a tattoo with a compass, which direction do you go, with underneath it with the how we should test that of where we should go. And it needs to be with us loving God, for me anyway, for me to be loving God with all of my heart, all of my soul, all of my mind, and all of my strength. Here's the tattoo that I have to help remind me of this. You see, for me, loving God with all of your heart is like your emotional connection to God. How do you love God with your emotions? And so, how can you be emotionally healthy? Is a very important question. And then our soul. How do we love God with all of our soul? To me, is how do we love God spiritually? So, how do we become spiritually healthy? And then how do we love God with all of our mind? Well, how do we become mentally healthy? And then with our strength, when I was so sick, how do we love God with all of our strength when I felt so weak in the hospital? So, how do we love God with our physical strength? So, how do we love God in those ways? And so, over the next 4 weeks, start next week with the heart. I'm going to look at two main things. One, how do we love God with all of our heart? How do we love God with all of our emotions? And then how can we take care of ourselves and the people around us so that we can promote and build emotional health in each other, in ourselves, in the way that we love God? Because I feel like these things are critical and crazy important. And so I invite you to join me as I reflect on the lessons that God taught me, and maybe it's something that will resonate with you as we move forward in life together in the direction that God is calling us, loving Him with everything that we've got. All right. Today's Bible study is going to ask you a bunch of general questions about these things, and then start next week. We're diving right in there, and I hope that you tune in for each and every one. All right. Have a great week. And until next week, be healthy.